When the network pulled the plug on Drawn Together after 4 seasons, the studio's bright fluorescent corridors instantly felt like a war zone. At 2:13 a.m., a blunt memo landed in every inbox. Effective immediately, production ceases. The printer's last word sounded oddly like a gunshot echoing through the empty hall. Within minutes, the lobby swarmed with stunned crew members, eyes wide and phones pressed to their ears. Senior writer Maya Liu stared at the screen, jaw slack, as the subject line blazed cancellation. Outside, Reddit and Twitter users erupted in a frenzy. Screens lit up with angry screenshots. How could they? We paid for this. And the hashtag #SaveDrawnTogether began trending, flooding the feed faster than the network could scrub it. Dozens of leaked emails surfaced on a fan forum, laying bare a heated back and forth between the show's creators and execs demanding more mainstream appeal. The tone grew vicious, the language razor sharp. In the break room, the cast gathered, faces a mix of disbelief and fury. Voice actor Greg Baker whispered, "We were just getting good." The camera caught the tremor in his hand as he clutched his script. A rapid montage flashes, angry fans chanting, the leaked email chain scrolling, the cast's stunned silence. The screen then freezes on a single frame, an empty director's chair, its nameplate still reading Mike Miller, executive producer. Narrator: what led to this explosive shutdown? The fallout wasn't merely a PR nightmare. It turned into a clash that reshaped the comedy landscape. When the news broke, major outlets ran the story, but the true pulse came from the grassroots. A dedicated fan site logged every reaction, from petitions to street protests outside the network's headquarters. Industry analysts later pointed to the network's push for broader demographics as the catalyst, a move that forced the show's edgy humor into a box it never fit. The creators, renowned for pushing boundaries, found themselves at odds with a corporate agenda that demanded safe, advertiser-friendly content. The cancellation sparked a wave of legal talk about creative control, even though no court filings ever materialized. Still, the conversation lingered in trade magazines, where insiders debated whether the network had overstepped its authority. One former executive, speaking off the record, admitted, "We thought we were protecting the brand, but we ended up alienating the very audience that made it a cult hit." His confession was captured in an exclusive interview that quickly went viral on video platforms. The backlash wasn't limited to fans. Writers' guilds issued statements defending artistic freedom, citing the show's unique voice as a case study in why networks must honor creative contracts. The debate echoed through panels at major conventions, where sessions on network versus creator drew packed rooms. All of this set the stage for a pivotal moment in TV comedy, a clear line drawn between corporate caution and unfiltered satire. The reverberations still echo today as new series walk the tightrope between innovation and marketability. Credibility note: I've spent years tracking the behind-the-scenes drama of animated comedies, pulling from archives and industry reports. Source: JustWatch.com. The story that follows unpacks the emails, the fan fury, and the power struggle that reshaped an entire genre. Stay with me, because the next chapters reveal how a single decision echoed across studios and streaming services alike. Disclaimer: I'm a storyteller, not a legal expert. The plan was straightforward, borderline reckless. Even two comedy writers, Dave Jesser and Matt Silverstein, wanted to fuse reality TV drama with the most over-the-top cartoon tropes they could dig up. Back in a 2004 chat with Comedy Central, they flat out said they were cooking up a show where nothing's off-limits. A twisted mirror held up to Survivor and Big Brother, letting animated characters spew what a real-life host would never dare. Source: right out of the gate, the series doubled down on aggressive offensiveness as its whole vibe. The writers cranked each character's stereotype to 11: a muscle-bound, gay-bashing macho, a ditzy blonde, a neurotic Asian nerd, and a trans woman housewife, then tossed them into sketches so spicy they'd make a late-night host's head spin. 3 sketches in particular became lightning rods. First up, the mansplaining sketch in Season 2, where the macho brute lectured a female guest on biology basics while the audience's canned laughter cracked like thunder. Critics howled it was satire gone nuclear, but the creators insisted it was just holding up a mirror to everyday sexism. Source: then came the stereotype montage, a whiplash speed reel mocking everything from Mexican drug lords to black athletes, which flooded fan forums with complaints. A thread on Drawn Together fandom.com got hammered with posts calling the bit racially toxic and demanding an apology. Source: last but not least, the religious satire showdown saw a cartoon god going head-to-head with a zealot-style priest in a courtroom-style showdown. The episode's Big Finish, a blasphemous musical number by the cast, sparked a change.org petition demanding the network yank the whole episode. Source: the pushback wasn't some quiet corner of the web thing. Within hours of the religious satire episode dropping, Twitter erupted with Drawn Together out. Users screenshotted the most cringe moments, slapped sarcastic captions on them, and tagged every advertiser that bought time during the show's half-hour block. By week's end, the hashtag was trending with calls to cancel the offensive cartoons for good. Backstage, Comedy Central's standard squad was sweating bullets. Leaked memos handed to CBR by an insider spelled out a blunt warning. Advertiser pullouts are coming if the next episode keeps this level of heat. We're telling you now, run it past us before you greenlight anything. Source. The fallout forced Comedy Central to issue a quick statement, insisting they take viewer concerns seriously while stopping short of pulling the plug. The whole mess, creator ambition, deliberately scorched sketches, and an online wildfire, turned Drawn together into a textbook example of how far a network will push satire before the backlash starts eating into the bottom line. All in all, the show kicked off as a gloriously unhinged experiment in boundary-free parody. Its most infamous sketches ignited firestorms of debate, and the resulting online storm finally made the network's own rule keepers sit up and take notice. The next chapter of controversy was already waiting in the wings. The doors crashed shut on that glass-walled boardroom, and the air practically sparked like a live wire. Executives hunched over a spreadsheet titled Ad Revenue versus Creative Fallout, each row ticking like a clock. Pull the plug and we lose the sponsors who adore the edginess, warned one exec. Keep it, and we risk a talent walkout that could poison the brand forever, he added. You could feel the tension. This classic high-stakes gamble boiled down to nothing more than a prime-time slot. When the legal team rose to speak, the room fell silent. Their counsel didn't swing a lawsuit around. Instead, she laid out a plain fact. The contracts lacked any breach clause that would force a courtroom showdown. We have the discretion to cancel, she told them, but no binding duty to prove wrongdoing. Put simply, the network could yank the show without a formal verdict, dodging costly litigation altogether. That legal gray zone, corporate discretion versus contractual obligation, served as the quiet engine keeping the decision out of the headlines. Source, Wikipedia.org. Behind the curtain, the ad agencies were whispering. They'd already started pulling money, worried about backlash from advertisers uneasy with the show's controversial humor. The execs measured those losses against the possible fallout of a public showdown with the creators. Bottom line, a clean exit, no courtroom drama, and a chance to rebrand without the baggage. Source, JustWatch.com. At 11:59 p.m. on finale night, the series aired its final episode. The animation rolled, jokes landed, and the characters said their goodbyes. But if you stared long enough at the background wall, a faint cancellation graphic flashed for a split second, an Easter egg for the most attentive fans. It felt like a bittersweet nod, a silent cue that the show ended not due to a verdict, but because the network opted for silence over a legal battle. Source, fandom.com. The final broadcast left viewers with a lingering question: who really lost? The creators, the fans, or the advertisers who never wanted the controversy in the first place? The answer lives in that hidden message, reminding us that the most decisive moments sometimes play out behind closed doors where contracts are vague and decisions are whispered. Source, CBR.com. So what can we actually learn from the drawn-together backlash? It isn't merely a two-decade-old scandal, it serves as a playbook. A playbook showing how satire gets smothered once it bumps into the all-powerful algorithm. You're witnessing the same fight today, networks and platforms policing stuff under the banner of brand safety, while creators howl about censorship. And guess what? The series got the axe, yet the debate, it's still blazing. Now here's the weird part. In the current streaming showdown, every service is tiptoeing a line, trying to please viewers but not trip into the next PR disaster. Free speech versus brand safety. It feels like a battle with no obvious victor. So the real kicker, did the network overreact? I get it, the show was edgy, but was it actually dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Give this video a like if you crave more deep dives, and if you've got takes, spill them. The conversation is far from done.